Are we live? Yes, we're live. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm fabulous. It's Friday, it's the weekend, it's good stuff.
Yes, Friday. And where are you right now? I mean, I know, but I
I'm
just
I'm in Texas, South Texas, a little town called Taft, right outside of Corpus Christi.
very cool. So, how far out of Corpus Christi?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Yep, not
All
too
right.
far at all.
Nice. So, did the cold front come and like slam you, catch y'all off guard over there?
Yes, I had to pull out the parka. It got down to like 50 degrees and I was like, "Nope. I got to go grab my
Uh-uh.
winter clothes." No, it's actually really nice. It's really nice today. The last couple of days it's been really nice. So definitely enjoying the cooler weather.
Love it. Love it. So, we got some people out there. We got Mr. Dwan saying hello. What's going on? Do I got to hang out with them here in New
Hi.
Orleans? Um, And so first I gotta let all the people out there know, like, y'all are here to help me embarrass Stephanie because she's doing amazing, beautiful things to make this world better. And like people that live in that mode of service, we don't do a very good job of like letting people know how amazing we are. And so like that's the whole point, is to celebrate Miss Stephanie, what you're doing with this one's for the gals and everything that you've done in your community thus far. So please drop some
Awesome.
comments in the chat, let us know you're there, and drop some dirt on Stephanie, and we'll have some fun with it.
No, no dirt, no dirt. Hopefully not anyway.
So Sarah Castro, you know
Oh,
Sarah?
yes, I love her. Yes, Sarah,
Oh,
man, she's been the
yes.
best mentor I could have had with all of this. She's the one that said, "Stephanie, you got this. Just slow down, breathe, start where you're at, and this is going to take off." And that's kind of exactly what happened.
And it is taking off. So, what specifically can I help you brag about, Stephanie?
Oh man. So you know how they say everything's bigger in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that includes our efforts to fuel the future. We are doing big things down here in South Texas to help get our kids, into the workforce, get them into, these careers that are down here locally, right outside their back door, and especially with a little bit stronger emphasis on girls. Hence, this
Yes.
one's for the gals.
Yes. Yes. So, I know. I mean, just so people understand, where did the idea come from, and what's like, why did you say I have to do this?
So it really started with a very small idea that I had. To get some girls to a conference. There's a conference held in Galveston every year. It's called the Women in Industry Conference, and it is kind of geared towards career exploration. And at first, I went in 2017, and I remember there being school buses outside, and
Mhm.
I just remember thinking, well, that's genius, right? We're getting girls in high school to learn about these different careers. And so that kind of stuck with me all these years. And we recently moved, well, I say recently, back in 2020, the years have just flown by these last few years. We moved down to South Texas, down here to Taft. And I just started thinking about the conference back in October last year, and I was working for Steel Dynamics at the time. They built a new steel mill here in Sinton, and just asked my manager, "Hey, do you think we could get some of our local high school girls to this conference?" And he said yes. Thanks, Trevor. And
Trevor!
he said yes. He's like, "Yeah, I think we could do that." And so I approached the school and just kind of said, "Hey, there's this conference. We'd love to get some of your students there if you'd be interested." And they were over the moon excited. They said 100% yes. We will collaborate with you on this. We'll provide hotel. We'll provide bus transportation. The response was just so great. And the initial thought was that we could get 10 or 12 girls to this conference, load them in our company van with a chaperone, and get them down to Galveston. And after the response from the school was so great, I was like, okay, well, hey, let's do this together. See how many girls we can get. And so our kids go to Taft High School, which is right down the road. And I was like, I really want them to have this same opportunity. So my husband works for Gulf Coast Growth Ventures, ExxonMobil, and I just said, hey, who might I contact there that might be able to help with the sponsorship? And he gave me a contact, and I reached out and just said, hey, this is what Steel Dynamics is doing for the girls at Sinton. Would you be interested in sponsoring Taft High School? And they said yes. They said, "Oh, we'd love this initiative. We'd love to be involved. How can we help?" And so I, connected the high school and Gulf Coast Growth Ventures. And then Jesse, I kept going. I
Yes.
just kept going. I was like, well, there's another school right down the road and another one and another one. And by the end of it, what I thought we'd get 10 or 12 girls to this conference, we got over 200 girls to this conference.
Yes.
And it was amazing. It was such a great experience for them just to get out of their hometowns, out and
Yes.
away, and experience something different. So one of the things the night before the conference, because the conference was held at Moody Gardens Convention Center. So the schools that went the night before, they stayed at the Moody Gardens Hotel. They took their girls to a nice dinner, had them dress up. It was just it was an experience, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so one of the counselors from one of the schools came up and was like, "Stephanie, thank you so much for this. For one, we didn't even know this conference existed, and for helping to get some of our girls here." And she said, "You may not realize it, but probably the majority of our girls have never stayed in a hotel room, have
Wow.
never been out of their
Yeah.
hometown."
Yep.
And I did not think about that. I
Yeah.
didn't, I mean, and so at that point, I was like, well, this isn't just getting girls to a conference anymore. This is actually getting them an experience, getting them to want more out of life, right? To be in
Yes.
Galveston and say, oh, I like it here. What kind of job can I get to be able to come back one day, to bring my family here, to vacation here? And so that's kind of where this one's for the gals kind of started. I saw a greater need than just, we're going to get girls to a conference every year to do some career exploration and workforce development type thing. It's going to be something that I really want to have an impact on our area and then grow, obviously. So I have twin boys, and they just graduated this past year. And so
Yeah.
I know boys need the same encouragement and push, but this one's for the gals. And that's kind of how I came up with that name.
Uh, Stephanie, like there's so much amazingness that you just shared, like true reality. Um, just thinking about the young ladies that was their first time staying in a hotel, it was their first time getting out. Like that is the reality for a lot of our youth out there.
A lot.
And
Yes.
providing the experience, right? That's the
Mhm.
ultimate takeaway in my head is providing that experience of what else is out there, of
Right.
what else, and more importantly, what is out there for them.
Hmm.
Like you're changing the trajectory of so many lives because you had a small idea and you took action on it. Like you
Right.
said, I'm gonna do it. And then once you started, you said, well, why stop here? Keep going.
Keep going.
You're a mom, you've got your own family, you've got your
Hmm.
job, you started this thing. And I mean, what was it, over a little over a year ago? We were having
Right.
tacos at Taco Haven in San
Yes.
Antonio. And then now it's like you're blowing up, and I love that you're blowing up. So I want to recognize some people because you made a comment that I agree with, right? Texas, that things are bigger in Texas.
Mhm.
But now you got some like national attention. We got Bruce coming in
Hi.
from
Oh,
Queens, New York City.
NYC.
Yep. My other good buddy,
Hey,
Mr.
Bruce.
Jeremy Atkinson, coming in from New Orleans because that
Hey,
boy, he's been
Jeremy.
working his butt off out here.
Nola.
Buddy Brumley. I don't know if you know, you got to
Hey.
follow these guys. They're all amazing people. He's up in Dallas. Um, and then you got some inspirational call out here. Sarah says your story is so
Yes.
inspirational. And again, you are doing life changing work. So, is that something that you think about, Stephanie? Like, yeah, I change lives every day. It's just what I do. Is that what
N-
goes through your head?
no, no, not really. A lot of things go through my head. I literally wake up in the middle of the night with a thought, and then I'm like, okay, I got to write that down, so I'll make sure to remember it. There's just so much happening, so quickly, but the support behind this, and a lot of people ask, oh my gosh, how do you do this? How do you do that? I've had like so much support, besides my family, Chris, obviously,
Yes, amazing
my
man. Yeah,
kids, have really just kind of stepped up to help, around the house for the most part, right? Because I
yep,
mean, mom's busy at her computer, writing stories, spotlighting women that are out in these roles or busy, going to a church bazaar with her informational booth, handing out this one's. I do. That's what I do.
You get in the streets, girl. That's
I
how you
mean,
gotta
I am in
do
the
it.
streets. I'm in the streets. Hey,
Yes.
I handed my business card to the girl at the Whataburger drive-through the other day. I was like, "Hey, call me. Let's
Nice.
see. Whataburger's good. Hey, we all need that, but what's next?" And that's the thing, right? What's next after that? What's next after
Mhm.
getting a job that maybe you need to go to work right away? And that's kind of the demographic that I really want to hit, is the girls that need to go to work right away, because in
Yeah.
this area there's a lot of them, right? And
Yeah.
say, okay, we'll get you into the workforce, but then what's after that? What's after
Yes.
that? Let's set some goals. Let's set some let's realize some dreams. And so
Love that.
but yeah, the support has been amazing. And like I said, we moved here just a couple of years ago, and I didn't have a big network in the area. So when I started trying to look for sponsors for different schools, I reached out to people like on LinkedIn, and just kind of sent a general message like, hey, would you be interested in sponsoring this school for this event, da, da, da. One thing I want to highlight is I now work for the Comores company, and through all of this a great opportunity presented itself, and so I transitioned over to Comores. And I had sent a general email to Comores. I couldn't find anybody on LinkedIn, and so I just went to, like, their website, and it's like general question answer email inbox. That thing you think goes to a black hole and nobody ever looks
Yeah.
at, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try. So I sent an email, kind of the same thing. Hey, this is what's going on with the kids in our, area. Would you like to be involved? And they responded. They
Wow.
responded from their corporate level. They copied people here at the site level, and they said, yes, we would love to get involved with this. And one thing Comores did was, they sponsored girls to get to the conference, but a part of that was, okay, what's after that? We want to follow up to this event. And so we invited the girls to our site, and for a full day of just plant tours, lab tours, our training facility, our operations center, our plant manager talked to them, who we are, what we make, just
Yes.
and and they heard from women that work, at Comores, that are in so many different roles. And it was an amazing just event, and it rounded out the entire experience. We had the local community colleges and educational institutions come in the afternoon. So the first part was us saying, these are the jobs that we have. And then the second part was, the educational institutions saying, okay, these are the programs we have to help you get these jobs. Because I think that's kind of where the disconnect is. We can talk about it all day, what jobs we have, but if we don't tell them how to get them, or how to get the training or the education, then, I mean, that, what do they do?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at the stars, and well, how the hell do I get there? Right.
Yes.
We have to, and that's the beautiful thing. I mean, you've had your life, you've lived your path.
Hmm.
And I was in this position for a little while where I'm like, why aren't they trying harder? Well, son of a gun, they don't have the resources, the same
Right.
resources that I had, right? The same, like the generational resources is what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. Like the generational experience that my family has set me up ahead just a little bit, right? And there's other
Right.
people that had more resources and more access, broader network, more experience of how to navigate these really foreign and ambiguous spaces. Like, yeah, be better, want more, strive. Okay, but where? Where do I
How?
go? How
Exactly.
do I do that? And
Exactly.
and then so here's another thing, like going, that's almost a terrifying thing, right? It's intimidating because we don't really know what we're doing.
Mhm.
And especially for young ladies, I mean, just young adults in general, right? We don't really, like, how do we do that? I don't want to mess it up. Now, which speaks to the value of community, right? And you decided to do this crazy wild thing. And so I'm curious, how did you how are you going about building your community to get that emotional support, that energy, the recharge? Because I know you got to recharge your batteries when you're out there launching new things. How do you go about making that
Yeah.
happen?
Well, I so one of the things, like, we're in careers and construction month, right? And
Yes.
so I had this bright idea to, at the beginning of the month, start highlighting spot, because one of the things that This One's for the Gals loves to do is spotlight women that are out there in these roles, right? And just blast them all over social media, right? Be their biggest cheerleader and say, hey, this is what this chick is doing. Y'all got to check this out, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I put out a blast on Instagram and said, hey, I'm looking for 31 women for the month of October to spotlight. And I got girls from all over the world that
Wow.
are out there in construction, just
Yes.
killing it, right? And so I've been highlighting a woman every day and just kind of just sharing her story, how she got there, and the good, the bad, the struggle.
Yep.
What advice would she give for? One of the questions I ask when I put their story together is like, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be? And boy, that
Ooh.
gets the biggest answer. Oh, if I
That's
knew
a
then
good
what I
one.
know now, that gets the
Yes.
biggest answer. But it's good, right? It's good for for young adults that are about to start their careers or graduate high school to learn from our mistakes and missteps.
Absolutely.
Oh, you see what I
Yes.
did there? You see what I
Yes.
did there?
I like it.
And so kind of that's how I have built my community, right? Is just by making those connections and saying, hey, I want to share your story. And a lot of the times the women will come back like, who I don't have a story. I'm not, who am I? And then I'll put their story together, right? And then they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, wow. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you've been through some stuff.
Yes.
You've been through some stuff. And so that's kind of and it costs next to nothing to share our knowledge, to share what's in our head,
Right.
right? Next to
Right.
nothing. And so that's kind of how, I've built like the network, right? And but like I said, it's almost been taking care of itself
Yeah.
because there's so much support because it's a need and we know
It's a
it's a
need.
need.
Yes.
We know it's a need. And so, yeah, so fast forward, here we are a year later from when I started, the journey to get the women or the girls to the conference in Galveston. We're bringing a conference here locally to the Corpus Christi area, and that is super exciting. I had invited our local community college and our local workforce development of the Coastal Bend down, Workforce Solutions of the Coastal Bend down. They sent representation and they said, we've got to do this. We've got to bring this back locally. We've got to
Yes.
do this for our community. And so we've been working together. And then I kind of brought in the university, our local university, Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I want everybody under one roof. We've all got the same goal. We want to get our girls into the workforce. We want to get them into careers and have them be successful. So I
Yes.
want everybody under one roof. We're going to have 3 breakout sessions. They're going to hear from women that are in a craft or a trade. They're going to hear from women that have completed a 2-year program and a 4-year program. And they're
Yes.
going to hear from women that are out in these roles, right? And when
Yes.
they come into the conference, they're not going to sit next to their best friend. We're going to have assigned seating. They're going to sit at the table with industry professionals, with girls
Yes.
that are in college and high school, so they can learn to grow their network and learn to talk to, adults, right? That's where we have
Yeah.
to start, to start building those skills with these girls. So I'm super excited for that. Like I said, the support behind the conference has been amazing. And it's something that I know is definitely going to grow in this area and hopefully beyond, right? We need this everywhere. It's not just
Absolutely.
here. And Miss Sarah Castro, who gave me a shout out a little bit ago, is the one that told me to start where you're at and it will grow. And she was right. She was right. I've
Yeah.
already had conversations from women in California, in Minnesota, that said, how can I do this here? What can we do to get this started
Yes.
here? And so
Yes.
that's definitely the goal. That's what we want to happen.
Oh my God. Okay. So thank you. And like, here's the secret for folks out there in the omniverse. When I'm doing things, and your story is proof of this,
Mhm.
when we do things in service to others, when we put our energy, our heart, our love into leaving this world better than we found it, things just happen. They just blow up and become far greater than we could even have imagined. And so there's some other women on here that are chiming in. Maybe Miss Cindy Cavasso.
Yes, Craft Training Center. They're in it too. They're one of our partners in the conference.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And then I kind of know this woman who's
Oh,
also an
be,
amazing powerhouse, Miss Jennifer Lacey.
yes.
And
Be your
she's telling
loudest
me to
hype
be your
woman.
loudest hype woman. What do you think
Hey,
about that?
sometimes you have to be, right? Sometimes you have to be. There's not always going to be somebody there that's going to, push you to be the best that you can be, and that's okay. So you need to be your own loudest hype woman.
You got it. And then how about Stephanie Becker?
Oh, yes. That's our lovely neighbor where my Longhorn keeps going over to her house to visit all the
Oh,
time. Hi, Stephanie.
man, you got some
Yes.
support coming in from
Oh, we
Facebook,
do.
man. And then
Yes.
Jamie Knox. I don't know if you met Jamie,
Aw.
but again, her and Jennifer are like close, and they're super dynamic,
Mhm.
amazing women that are having huge impact in the industry and the community. Like that, again, that community piece is so valuable, so important. And then we got my buddy Spencer Easton coming in from
Hi,
Arizona.
Spencer. All
If you haven't
over.
hooked up, connected with him, that man's got some energy that will carry you for at least 60 days, like for real. So you sent out a letter for sponsorship. You were flooded with sponsors. Right now, we've
Mhm.
got your website kind of coming down the bottom of the screen here. This one's for the gals. So for folks that are out there, if they said, "Holy moly, I got to support this. I got to help and contribute," can they
Mhm.
go to the website here and find a sponsorship
Yep.
opportunity? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a at the very top, there's a donate page, and there's also a volunteer page because we're always looking for volunteers. I call them my give back gals and guys.
Yes. Well, okay. So the
Yeah.
conference you got coming up in Corpus,
Mhm.
how can I volunteer? Use me, put me to work,
Oh,
please.
yes. Well, hey, you're already doing it, right? We're already here. You're already helping me spread the word. And that's kind of the thing, right? Like I said, we want to bring it to San Antonio some point, right? Heck
Woo!
yeah. But no, it's great stuff. And I mean, I'm here for all of it. And like I said, it's a startup, right? So of course you're going to be, trying to figure things out and you're going to try to, but man, with all the partners that I have, and that's including like Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Texas A&M, Kingsville, Del Mar College, Coastal Bend College, the
Wow.
Craft Training Center, Texas Gulf Coast Electrical Apprenticeship Program, Education to Employment Partners, and Workforce Solutions Coastal Bend. All of those have come together and said, we are going to do this. We are going to, bring this conference here locally. We're going to help, create awareness of all the jobs that are here in the community to help get our girls into the workforce.
And I need to say this because I know you'll never say this. Like you listed all these amazing organizations that are coming in and they're going to be committing resources and people and energy. And you forgot to say, I think you just forgot to say, and I
And
got that ball rolling. And I put in the time and effort to make this amazing, beautiful thing come to life. And I think all the people out there in the Omniverse, I need you to like give her some love and help remind her that this would not be happening had it not been for her stepping out and taking action. You had an idea and you took action, and now here we are doing these amazing things for Corpus. Miss Sarah continues to say, way to make a
yes,
difference in the Corpus
absolutely.
area. And so there's
Yes.
this other magical thing I heard about,
Mhm.
um, because it's not just about high school.
No, it's
What
not.
is
Yeah,
what is
so
that?
at
It's covering my face over here.
at first, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna focus on high school girls," right? And then when you think about it, when kids get into what, 8th grade now, they're kind of handed a piece of paper mid-year and saying, "Okay, you're going to high school next year. What are you gonna do for the rest of your life?" Oh, I have no clue. I have no clue. And so I'm like, how can we reach the middle schoolers, the junior high schools? And then I'm like, no, we got to start earlier. How do we get into the elementary schools to kind of help start generating that interest, right? And so we're going to start a line of children's books, right? A day in the life of Wendy the welder. What does it look like to be a welder? Or, a day in the life of Emma the environmental engineer. We want the girls to see themselves in these roles. You imagine, a process technician from one of our local industrial companies walking into an elementary school dressed up in her FRCs to go read this book to this classroom of kids, and what kind of impact that'll have. And especially if there's a piper sitting in the, in the audience,
Yes,
she's going to be like, that's me. And so
yes.
that's what we want to do with this line of children's books, is just to show them that, hey, you can be whatever it is that you want. There's so many opportunities, and then what it's like to be in these roles. And so one of the things that I may not have mentioned to you, but the girls that I spotlight are going to help me write the books.
Oh my God, really?
Yes. Oh, yes, for
Oh,
sure. Yes, they're gonna help me write the books, and yeah, I mean, tell me what it's like to be a day in the life of, what you
yeah.
do, and let's put that out there. So that's really exciting.
Oh, that is so brilliant. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to go and get your autograph here pretty soon because like you'll be big time, sister. And
Oh,
and hang on because we got some people
uh-oh.
letting you know
Aw,
you
thanks,
did this,
Jeremy.
Stephanie. And we got Mr. Chris Papadres coming in from Houston. Says, keep pounding, Stephanie.
All
You're
right.
amazing. And then Jennifer says, amazing conversation. We
Awesome.
need to continue to help elevate all the women around us.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
All right. So books coming out. Do you have like a target date, or it's still kind of in development?
It's honestly, I literally thought of this maybe, I don't know, in the middle of the night. Like I said, in the middle of the night, I'm like, woke up, I'm going to start children's books. No, actually, I got this idea. I'm going to give a shout out from a children's book that just came out, The House That She Built, and a group of women that came together to build a house from the ground up, and then wrote a book about it and all the different roles it takes to build a house held by women. And I thought that was like the most amazing thing ever. And so I was like, we can do this for women in industry too, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah. So it's still kind of a dream. But you know, I've been working with an illustrator who literally I gave her a couple of pictures and said, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And she nailed it 100%. And I was
Oh,
like, this is perfect. So yeah, still in the early stages, but hopefully it'll take off really soon.
well, and you also have another little project cooking up around building little libraries to expand. What's
Yes.
going on
Yeah.
there?
So how do we reach the middle schoolers, right? And so Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, I've been having a lot of conversations with them, and they want to host a women in industry summer camp aimed at middle schoolers and junior high school girls, and bring them to the campus, and they will have a project. So their project will be a little free library that, you know, that's where you see them around town, and they have their leave a book, take a book, borrow kind of thing, right? And so they will construct this project. That'll be their project, and they'll get judged, they'll get awards, they'll give presentations on them, and then we'll donate the little free libraries back to the surrounding communities. And I think that was their idea. Honestly, I didn't even come up with
Wow.
that one.
Whew.
I was like, that is awesome. That is the most best idea I've heard. So yeah,
Wow.
so the goal of the camp would be, you know, we'll have women from industry come in, and men too from industry, right? Show them kind of how to. I mean, they have to have mentors to kind of help. You know, they're going to be
Yeah,
working with power tools and reading
you got it.
diagrams. And what I have found is that, you know, even at the Women in Industry conference in Galveston, in the career fairs, it's a mixture of men and women, right? The
Yes.
target audience is girls, women, obviously, but in there that are, you know, sharing what jobs and that stuff, you know. So guys, we need you too. We need your encouragement too.
Come on, guys. We
Yeah.
got to step up. We got to step up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so yeah, that'll be the goal for the summer camp, and then we hope
Wow.
to be able to incorporate some tours of some local facilities here to kind of get them out and kind of seeing different things. And so yeah, that's going to be overall just an awesome experience that obviously I think is going to grow as well.
No doubt. No doubt at all. So now we want you to shout out your people. Who your favorite OGs out there that you
Oh
want to
my
shout out?
goodness. So you know what? Man, Charlie Matthews, Empowering Women in Industry. I joined that organization, I believe it's back in 2019. Like I said, the years have been going by so fast. But man,
Yeah.
she's amazing. And everything that I have pushed myself to do, I have seen her do, basically empowering women, just helping them, you know, overcome. I actually spoke at one of their conferences on overcoming limiting beliefs.
Mm,
And yeah, it was probably the first public speaking event I did ever,
damn.
honestly.
Yes.
But after that, I was like, man, you know, we've got to start talking more about what
Yeah.
we've been through, about where we're at, about how we got there. And that's what she's all about.
Yes.
They just had a conference in NOLA last week, actually. I wasn't able to make it this year, but next year we'll be back in Chicago. But yeah, it's an amazing organization, and she is just one of the best cheerleaders ever. And she taught me how to be a cheerleader, how to want to be a cheerleader. Um, and one of the things I'm so passionate about this is because I was that girl. I was that girl coming out of school, not knowing what I wanted to do. Came from a very small school. Just, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna go straight to work. My parents talked about college, and I was like, I'm an adult. I know what I'm doing. And that's guys, that's not the best idea. That's not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Leave high school with a plan, something, right? Something.
Yes.
And so, you know, I ended up married really young, divorced really young, and I had two little boys, and I was a single mom. And I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't have any post-secondary education or training, a very feeble resume, and I had two little boys to provide for. And a friend of mine had suggested I do a 6-week AutoCAD training class,
Mhm.
drafting and design. And I was like, okay, I think I can do that. And so I started going, and I enjoyed it. And I was really good at it. And I was like, well, this is, I like this. And so I walked into a job fair at Bechtel in Houston in 2007 and basically said, I want to learn. Do you have an entry level position available? And they offered me an entry level position, and that changed everything for me.
Wow.
Everything. It opened me up to so much and changed the trajectory of my career, of my life, of what I thought it was to be an adult, and to be a woman in industry. And now I'm like, I've got to share what I've learned, what I know, with the next generation. We've got to, start preparing them now,
Yes.
for life, because that's what it's about, right? It's about
Yes.
life, and it's about, building our economy and building our area, our neighborhoods. And one thing I found about the students here is they don't want to go far. They don't want to leave, home. They want to
Yeah.
kind of stay close. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the goal. It's like, you don't have to. These jobs are here for you. These, educational as institutions are here, right here in your back door. And so that's what, we're sharing with them. And one of the things I like to talk about too is that, we're South Texas, so we got some pretty good ball players, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we got some pretty good ball players. And so some of our kids might get recruited to go to UT or Baylor or Texas Tech or Oklahoma or wherever it might be, right? And so, if the big leagues don't call, we want them to come back home and
Yep.
get a job here. So we need to tell them what to go and study, right?
Yeah.
So come back and be an engineer for, Valero, or, an engineer for Comores, or whatever it might be. We need to tell them what to do. And so I like to say that this one's for the gals is standing in that gap between
Mm.
industry and the high schools. And that, it's a pretty great place to be.
Yeah. Well, you're building a bridge, girl, and I'm so grateful that you and I connected. If y'all want people out there in the Omniverse, you want to learn more about it, we have a podcast interview with you in the Learnings and Missteps podcast.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that I can like be part of your crew. If you need a day laborer, I'm pretty good at doing that type of stuff. Definitely want to continue to shout you out. So folks out there, please share this video with your friends and young ladies and women out there to maybe just steal a little bit of energy, because if you're not feeling the beautiful energy that Stephanie's giving out, there's something wrong with you. Like maybe you just need to turn off your computer and focus on your phone. Stop working. Pay attention to Stephanie. That's the important thing. And we got some people showing you love. LinkedIn
Oh,
user says,
thank
leaving a
you.
legacy. Go, Stephanie. Sarah also continuing to support, says, incredible creativity, even more impact. And then Bruce from New York City says,
Hey,
wants to help.
Bruce.
So
All
let's connect
right.
with Bruce. Um, Everybody, appreciate y'all coming in and spending the time with us. Hit up. So you're on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Instagram.
What is that? All of them?
I think that's it. Is there
Okay.
more? Because if there is, oh my goodness, I need to clone myself. Social media is a full-time job. Yes,
I
it
know,
is.
I
But we got
know.
to meet the kids where they're at. And where are they? They're on TikTok.
Exactly
They're
right.
on Instagram.
Yes, that is my number one goal, is to become TikTok famous. That is
Yes.
what I'm working on. So folks,
Same.
get out there, follow Stephanie, follow This One's for the Gals, share with all your people. Let's elevate and support the beautiful and amazing things that they're doing. And we got Mr. Aaron. It says, great work,
Ah,
Stephanie.
Aaron. He's one of
We
my
got,
faves. Yes.
oh, it's
Hi,
so
Aaron.
awesome. Boom. You got any final thoughts you want to make, Miss Stephanie?
I do, and it's for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm putting you on the spot.
My Wi-Fi.
Uh, no, no. So, Jesse, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
Oh, Stephanie, if I went back to talk to 18-year-old Jesse, I would tell him two things.
Okay.
The first thing is listen. The second thing is you are enough. That's exactly what I would tell that fool.
Now, would he listen?
Hopefully. Probably not, but I'll tell him anyway.
But that's what you would say. That's
That's
awesome.
exactly what I would say.
All
Yes.
right. Well, thank you so much, Jesse. It's always, always a pleasure to hang with you. And I appreciate you and your support. And, let's get some kids to work.
Yes, man. Let's do it. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time on the OG Spotlight.
Bye.